Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Tempers flare across the country after an ICE officer shoots and kills a mother. We are following developments in Minneapolis and here in the Triangle, where protesters are gathering for anti-ICE demonstrations.
Plus, seeking accountability. A man charged with killing a Wake County teacher had numerous run-ins with local police. We're pressing officers for answers about why he was free.
The latest drought monitor came out just a few hours ago, and it is not good news for our area. We've seen conditions worsen. I'll show you.
But you want to start with some breaking news right now. The Durham District Attorney is responding to our questions about her office's handling of a recent case involving the man now suspected of killing a Raleigh teacher. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Renee Chu. We've reached out to the Durham DA every day this week, asking why Ryan Camacho, who is now charged with the Raleigh murder, was able to have felony charges reduced. WRAL's Sean Gallagher joins us now live from Durham. Sean, the DA stands behind her decision.
Yeah, doubling down on the handling of those cases with Ryan Camacho. District Attorney Satana DeBerry sending us this message within the last hour, saying in part, evidence in Mr. Camacho's cases did not support felony conviction, and Mr. Camacho has allegedly committed a horrible crime. In these situations, it's natural to look for someone to blame. However, the 2021 and 2024 cases were handled appropriately based on the information and evidence available at the time. Those cases stem from Camacho breaking into a woman's house here in Durham. She shared this surveillance video from the second time he broke into her home by throwing a rock through her window. That's among 10 cases he's been charged with since 2021 here in Durham. In April of last year, he was charged with larceny, which is a Class H felony carrying between 8 to 10 months in prison, a sentence that could have had him behind bars the day Zoe Welsh was killed, and a charge that was downgraded to a misdemeanor by District Attorney DeBerry's office as part of a plea agreement.
I'm sorry, it is the DA's fault. You cannot constantly, especially for these types of crimes, you may call breaking and entering a nonviolent crime. I'm sorry, he threw a brick through my window. That's violent to me.
And while DA DeBerry did respond to our request, she didn't answer our most pressing questions, which you see on the screen here now. How is Camacho's past criminal history in Durham and Wake counties considered? Did your office have any concerns about his mental health during any of these cases? And how are you reviewing how his cases were handled here? Now, we are bringing those questions to other leaders in the city of Durham as well as the county to see if they have any confidence in how criminals are tried here behind me at the DA's office. In Durham, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
WRAL has learned there was an attempted break-in at the building next to Zoe Welsh the very same day she was murdered. This window remains boarded up at St. Mary Square North Apartments. According to Raleigh police records, the attempted break-in happened Saturday, sometime between 4 and 6:45 in the morning. Police say there was an attempted break-in at the same spot on December 30th as well. They have not identified a suspect. You can count on WRAL to stay on top of this story. Go to our website to learn more about the beloved Ravenscroft teacher, Zoe Welsh, who was killed. You'll also find our detailed reports on the background of the suspect, Ryan Camacho, and efforts to fix systemic failures that allowed Camacho to walk free. Just search Zoe Welsh.
Well, conditions in our area have been a bit dry since September. Today, parts of the viewing area moved into severe drought for the first time in months. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is on the WRAL weather patio with kind of a look at that new map. Elizabeth, will rain this weekend help?
You know, we're only likely to see 1/4 of an inch of rain, and every little bit can help. But what we really need is inches of rain, at least over a month's time, to start to see a reversal. We started to dry out mid to late August, and then we really saw some dry conditions ramping up again in November and December. And so this is really a result of that. So the brown shaded or orange shaded area is severe drought, and that does now include 6 of our counties. Last week, we had moderate drought across most of our viewing area. But the moderate drought and the severe drought have significantly expanded across the state just this week. The mountains have gone, at least the southern mountains have gone under severe drought, and parts of the coast moved from abnormally dry to some moderate drought. So conditions continue to worsen. In the last 30 days, we've only
Cyber threats are changing quickly, and what worked last year will not protect businesses in 2026. That's because AI is accelerating scams. Cybersecurity expert Kimberly Simon from the Growth Office Partners breaks down 3 practical ways that small businesses can get ahead of cyber risk before an incident forces their hand. Kimberly, always great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
All right, your first bit of advice here, lock down identity. What do you mean by that?
Great. Lockdown identity. So in 2026, cyber incidents are not happening because a hacker broke in. They're happening because someone gained access to information that they shouldn't have. So lock down identity by doing things like enabling multi-factor authentication across all your accounts. Stop sharing login details across employees, and make sure that you double down on access controls so that people only have access to the files and information that they need to do their job.
On a need-to-know basis. Your next recommendation,
Right.
Put guardrails around AI use. All right, AI is here right now.
It is here, and your employees are using AI whether you
Yep.
approved it or not. But the smart companies are not banning AI. They're figuring out ways to use AI in a smart way. So they're putting in policies and rules around what tools can be used and what information can be shared with those tools. They're also doing workflows where they customize their AI enablement just for their company so that information is still protected. They're also doing regular cybersecurity awareness training for their employees.
And finally, conduct an annual cybersecurity risk assessment. How can small business owners do this?
Absolutely. So a cybersecurity risk assessment takes a step back and looks at your organization specifically. And the idea is you get a report that shows you your risk. So you have an idea of your high risk areas that you need to address right now, and then your moderate and low risk areas that you can address over time. Now you want to do this every single year. So get that report, and you want to work with a third party to do it. Why? Because a third party brings in a fresh set of eyes. And when we've done cybersecurity risk assessments, we've often uncovered gaps that an internal team would miss because they're too close to the problem. So do your cybersecurity risk assessment immediately.
And why is this so important for small business owners to do this annually and to protect their business?
Great question. There's a lot of risk, and companies don't always know where to start. So a cybersecurity risk assessment at least gives you a roadmap of, hey, here are the high risk areas where you need to assign your budget and your resources to immediately to close those gaps. And then you have like the moderate. So it gives you a roadmap of where to start.
Kimberly, thank you so much for talking with us. Always good to hear your insights, and we know this will help people. AI is happening right now, so
Absolutely.
you got to figure out how to navigate it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe don't do what the Louvre did, where they had their password was the Louvre. Just something to think about. Well, NASA postponed the first scheduled spacewalk of the year because of what they say is a medical concern. NASA leadership wouldn't give more information about the matter. 2 astronauts were supposed to finish work on a power channel, but no word just on yet on when this spacewalk will be rescheduled. NASA also has a spacewalk scheduled for a week from today. Paris is looking even more picturesque than normal. I mean, yeah, check it out. Heavy snowfall turned the city white on a third day of an unusually frosty spell. Many people stopped to admire landmarks dusted with snow. At the iconic Notre Dame Cathedral, the crowds there, they were posing for photos alongside snowmen, and many people gathered at the local parks to enjoy a little bit of downhill fun there. Well, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner right now is on the WRAL weather patio. Notice she got the WRAL branded puffy coat on there. Just a little chilly outside right now, Elizabeth?
You know, it is. And, you know, it's actually cloudy out here right now. So definitely feeling like the jacket is a nice thing to have on. So not as warm today. Our temperatures are highs in the 60s. So definitely looking at a cooler day today than we saw yesterday. But then we get into much warmer conditions as we move into tomorrow. We're going to see a front moving through that brings us those warmer conditions. Rain over the weekend is possible, especially Saturday night, maybe into very early Sunday morning. We're going to start off with a live look at Chapel Hill, and you can see the gray skies here. We're going to continue to see the clouds overcast for the most part. It's a high, thin cloud cover, but it does feel overcast out here right now, and we'll see that all the way through tomorrow and Saturday with some clearing, maybe not even until Sunday. Right now it is 60 degrees. Our winds are fairly light at around 7 miles per hour, and we'll only climb another 2 or 3 degrees through the afternoon. Right now it's 59 in Roxborough, 63 in Fayetteville, and 61 in Rocky Mount. Closer to the Triangle, 57 in Chapel Hill, 61 in Clayton, and 58 in Wake Forest. These temperatures are a little bit below what we saw yesterday, anywhere from around 5 to 10 degrees cooler. It's enough in some places that, you may need a little bit more of a jacket than you did yesterday afternoon. I mean, we climbed into the low 70s yesterday. We won't really come close to that today, but we will tomorrow, and we'll talk about why. This is a look at our high-resolution satellite. You can see those high, thin clouds building in, and you can see they're a lot thicker back to the west. That's what's going to be rolling in. So the sky's going to look like this for much of the afternoon. Temperatures in the low 60s in the Triangle and 67 in Fayetteville. Tomorrow we see a big change in our wind shift. You can see all that warm air that comes pushing right back into North Carolina, but the cold front that sweeps through on Saturday will help to deliver some cooler air. We'll begin to feel that on Sunday, and that continues into Monday and Tuesday. As a matter of fact, if you look all the way down the line to Monday, 49 degrees, but we might feel like 49 on Sunday afternoon. It's kind of tricky on a day like Sunday. The cold front will have come through. It'll be 64 very early in the morning, and then we'll see the temperatures dropping as we get through the day. Now, 73 Friday, 75 on Saturday. Both of those temperatures could tie a record for the day in the Triangle, and we'll have some cloud cover, but with that southerly flow, we should be quite warm. We'll also be fairly dry those days. You can see the next system that's coming. Watch that warm front moving across parts of the Midwest, and then the potential for some strong, even some severe thunderstorms happening across parts of the deep south. Well, eventually that swings through here, but it will weaken considerably before it arrives. Let's talk a little bit about our drought status. We checked in with that just a little while ago. We could desperately use some rain. We did have, for the first time in a couple of months, see at least 6 of our counties move into severe drought. We hate to see that, but it's going to take a lot of rain to rectify that situation, and we'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. We do have that chance of rain Saturday and another shot at it Wednesday. I'll show you how much we could see coming up.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, 3 people were injured in a dog attack in Durham, according to law officials. The family reported that their dog, a pit bull mix, got spooked by something outside. They became aggressive. The dog then ran inside and bit 3 family members in the home, including a child. So we're working to find out the extent of their injuries right now, but we do know that Animal Services was able to take the animal.
Kelsey, thank you. Police chief arrested. The Newton Grove police chief in Sampson County is charged with several felonies. Today on WRAL News at 4, what he's accused of doing and what court documents say and when court documents say it happened.
And penalty-free withdrawal. A new 401k provision will let you take out money before retirement age. On WRAL News at 5, how it works and who would be eligible. We're also talking about protecting your budget when buying or leasing a car. 5 of your side shares ways to protect your budget as the car prices are skyrocketing.
Plus, holiday gift returns. You might have some items you want to take back. Coming up, why it's better to do that now rather than later. If you're shopping for a new car, you've probably seen that prices are still high and interest rates haven't really eased. 5 on your side's Ashley Rowe shows you how to protect your budget when buying or leasing a car.
New car prices are averaging around $50,000 and interest rates are near 7%. That's why Consumer Reports says it's especially important for shoppers to know what to expect when buying a new vehicle. Consumer Reports closely monitors the auto market, buying 40 to 50 new cars every year for testing.
You want to watch out for things like add-ons and extras and fees that can push up a price by hundreds or thousands of dollars.
To compare prices and see what's actually available near you, check the manufacturer's site, plus places like TrueCar, Cars.com, or CR's Build and Buy service. It's also worth looking into financing through your bank or credit union.
Sometimes dealerships offer promotional financing, which can save you a lot of money. But at the very least, talking to the bank gives you a baseline that you can compare against what the dealer offers.
Consumer Reports cautions against those really long 84 or 96-month loans. The monthly payment may seem manageable, but interest can drive the overall cost much higher. And for buyers thinking about leasing, there are trade-offs to consider.
Make sure you know what the mileage limits are, the fees that you could face at the end of that lease, and any sort of maintenance or repairs that you have to pay when you turn in the car at the end of the lease.
And whether you'll be leasing or buying, don't feel rushed to sign a contract. Give yourself time to understand what you're agreeing to. It can save you a lot of stress down the road. And something else to consider, extended warranties can add thousands to the price tag. Consumer Reports recommends choosing a reliable car and setting aside an emergency fund instead. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
Well, JP Morgan Chase is taking over Apple's credit card. The card was first launched in 2019 through a partnership with Goldman Sachs. Apple expects the deal to take about 2 years to complete, and the company says the card will work the same during the time. Apple says MasterCard will still be the payment network, and any changes to the card will be communicated to customers. The holiday shopping season may be over, but the holiday return season is still happening. Purchase returns in the days immediately after Christmas increased around 5% compared to the year prior. That's according to a new Adobe Analytics report. It expects returns to keep climbing in the first few weeks of January. The report also found customers spent a record amount of online shopping this past holiday season at more than $250 billion.
Ford is developing an AI assistant that will debut on the automaker's app before expanding to vehicles next year. It goes beyond adjusting your AC or closing your sunroof. It will be able to answer high-level questions, such as how many bags of mulch you can fit into the bed of your F-150 pickup truck, or real-time information This is just the beginning of new upgrades at Ford. The automaker plans to introduce its eyes-off driving system in 2028. Police investigation. The day a Raleigh teacher was killed, Raleigh police responded to reports of a break-in nearby her home. Why officers are trying to determine if there's a link between the crimes.
Plus, embracing boredom. Just put down the phone and zone out a bit. Why experts say being bored can be a good thing.
And here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Now at noon, WRAL has learned an attempted break-in was reported at a building near a Raleigh teacher's home within hours of her murder. Let's bring in WRAL's Carly Haynes. She is live in Clay Street right now where Zoe Welsh lived. Carly, you've been asking police questions about their response to this whole situation.
And Chris, you can see the window is still boarded up at this apartment complex, and this is right next door to where Zoe Welsh lived. Now, according to Raleigh police records, the attempted break-in happened Saturday sometime between 4:30 and 6:45 in the morning. Police radio traffic from Open MHZ indicates police were notified of an incident on St. Mary Street, but no other details are mentioned. That was at 4:40 a.m. Less than 2 hours later, police say Welsh was attacked in her home and died from the injuries. Ryan Camacho is charged with her murder, and we've asked police if Camacho is linked to the attempted break-in. They said they have not identified the suspect in that case. Neighbors told us they saw Camacho hanging around this area for weeks, one even sharing photos of him urinating in their yard and wandering across their property. Police say that there was also an attempted break-in at this very same spot on December 30th. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And you can visit WRAL.com to learn more about Zoe Welsh. You can also find our detailed reports on the background of the suspect, Ryan Camacho, and efforts to fix systemic failures that allowed Camacho to walk free. Just search Zoe Welsh.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center. We're following new developments now out of the U.S. Senate, where they just passed a war resolution that would limit further attacks in Venezuela without congressional authorization. So that vote came in 52 to 47 to advance the War Powers resolution. Republicans blocked the last resolution by just 2 votes. So this, of course, comes after the United States captured Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro.
Family and friends held a candlelight vigil overnight in honor of Tyree Nichols. In 2023, Nichols was pulled over by police on suspicion of reckless driving. He was pulled from the car, pepper sprayed, hit with the taser, and then he ran off. Now, following his arrest, he died from his injuries 3 days later. The community lit candles and shared prayers. Speakers used the opportunity to remind people of why their fight continues.
3 years later, and we still don't have any justice for my son. The whole world saw what happened.
We're stepping outside to get you a look live right now at Southern Pines. I don't think I see too many people out there hitting the links. That's still right, though. Pretty way to have a Thursday afternoon as you're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
When it comes to sticking to New Year's resolutions, data shows most people give up by the second week in January. How you respond to boredom can help provide mental health gains and keep you from getting in a rut. Chris DeMeo takes a look.
As we dive deeper into the new year, many people remain busy working towards their resolutions. Still, no matter how focused you are on achieving your goals, psychologists say no one is immune from getting bored from time to time.
We treat boredom like an emotion, so it's a signal that what you're doing right now isn't interesting or relevant to your goals or important to you in any way.
But research from Dr. Heather Lynch of Texas A&M University finds boredom can offer mental health benefits. It just depends on how you respond to it.
Some people respond to boredom effectively. They start thinking right away in new and creative ways. They start seeking out new and creative opportunities, new projects.
But ineffective ways of combating boredom may cause negative impacts.
They try to distract themselves with something like their phone or binge watching movies, or they might even do something risky, like drinking alcohol or using drugs. And that ineffective strategy can eventually lead to increased anxiety and depression.
Once you start feeling bored, researchers say,
really try to think about what's important to you, goals that you're trying to accomplish, connections that you actually want to make with other people, and then seek out those opportunities.
Meanwhile, as 2026 presses on, Dr. Lynch warns how boredom may strike one age group harder than the rest.
Teenagers do seem to experience boredom more, and they're probably less well equipped to deal with boredom. So I always recommend, especially to parents or teenagers trying to learn to regulate themselves, to really spend some time being bored and figuring out how to use that boredom to motivate yourself to accomplish goals.
That was Chris DeMeo reporting. Experts say boredom can be productive. They suggest letting your mind drift to see where it goes. Use it as a cue to learn a new skill or explore a new path. Finally, build your capacity to handle discomfort.
Your time is 12:39 this afternoon. Curbing withdrawal symptoms. Coming up, what a new study found could help ease heart rate changes and anxiety too. Plus, up for sale, the items being sold belonging to Apple founder Steve Jobs and how you can get your hands on them.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has now been cut out of the investigation of the shooting that involved an ICE agent killing a woman here. So we're going to go ahead and give you an update from live pictures from the memorial of the site where that woman was killed, Renee Good, learning this new information about how the Homeland Security Secretary is now accusing state investigators of not doing their work, and they've been cut out of that investigation. So you can see dozens of people gathered there in Minnesota. We also know that several demonstrations and protests have been happening across the United States, including a few protests that will be planned here in the Triangle. So we'll be sure to let you know anything that happens here in the WRAL Live Center.
All right, thank you for bringing us that breaking update, Kelsey. There's a new way for police departments to respond to crashes, and that's gaining popularity in our area. The use of civilian positions. They're not sworn officers, and they don't carry badges or guns. It's the focus of WRAL Sarah Kruger's investigation that airs tonight at 6.
More and more local police departments are using civilian crash investigators. The idea being it'll help alleviate some of the load on the sworn police officers. And the data we got shows that seems to be working. Apex is the latest place to give it a try. The police department now employs one part-time civilian crash investigator, Julia Van Buskirk.
What is an average day like for you?
I come in, I wait for calls to come in for non-injury motor vehicle collisions.
Seeing more and more places adopting this model, from Raleigh to Durham, I filed a records request for their numbers. The data shows in Apex, since Van Buskirk started, she has taken on 18% of the non-injury crashes, freeing up Apex police officers to respond to more serious calls. Tonight at 6, we examine what the data shows in other cities too. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News, Apex.
A new study suggests practicing yoga could curb opioid withdrawal symptoms. The study examined people who were with typical symptoms such as heart rate changes, pain, and anxiety. Those who took a 45-minute yoga class for 10 days over 2 weeks, along with medication, recovered faster compared to the medication-only group. Experts also say yoga was beneficial to those who quit cold turkey or gradually reduced their opioid intake. OpenAI is expanding its chatbot to include a health portal. ChatGPT Health allows users to connect medical records and wellness apps to ChatGPT in order to receive more tailored responses to questions and concerns about their health. The company says there will be extra safeguards in place to prioritize privacy and safety. OpenAI stresses the feature is not meant to diagnose or treat people and is not qualified to give any kind of medical advice.
Some people may question if that information is being sold to a company or such. Disasters across the country caused around $115 billion in damage in 2025. The nonprofit group Climate Central reports a record 21 thunderstorms in the U.S. last year. And each of those caused at least $1 billion in damage. More than 21 there. Not clear exactly which number that's supposed to be. Wildfires in Southern California accounted for more than half of the year's total damage. And the report also says 2025 was the least costly year for disasters since 2019. All right, swinging over to our weather forecast, we do have meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out there on the WRAL weather patio. One of the big talkers right now, not necessarily just how cool it is, but how dry it is outside, Elizabeth.
It has been so dry. We talked earlier this morning about somebody who threw a cigarette out on their lawn and it just went up in flames. You really want to be super careful. We don't necessarily have official high fire danger for it today. There's certain things that go into whether or not that's issued, but you just really want to be careful with any sort of burning that's happening. So the new thing today, the biggest story is that for the first time in a couple of months, part of our viewing area has gone under severe drought. That's going to be that darker orange shaded area. So 6 of our counties, north and west of Wake County, and then back in the mountains, same story. Overall, the moderate drought has spread farther to the east, and pretty much the entire state of North Carolina is under some sort of drought. The yellow shaded areas along the coast are where it's abnormally dry. We talked about this before. Look at that. Fayetteville has only seen 19% of the normal rainfall for the last 30 days. Raleigh's seen 34%. It's a little bit better up in, say, Warrenton at 48%, but 21% in Wilson, about 41% in Southern Pine. So it's a bad situation. If that was just 1 month, it might not be so bad, but we've seen that since September. So September, October, November, December, just a long stretch of some really dry conditions. So we need that rain that's coming in late on Saturday, but it does not look like it is going to help us out a whole lot. It is already starting to produce some severe weather along it across parts of the plains, moving into the Mississippi Valley, and we have a small chance for some severe storms. We're going to be feeling very much like spring for tomorrow and Saturday, so that's going to set the stage for that clash between some really warm air and some very cold air that comes in behind the front. So it could bring us a chance of storms. The best chance will be across parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, along the southern part of the Mississippi. Again, looking at the Mississippi Valley, looking at a level 2 risk for our area. From the Triangle area northward and westward, we have a level 1 risk for severe storms. First one of the year, but it's the first one that we've seen in quite some time. We could have some strong gusty winds, maybe 1 or 2 of those gusts of wind could cause some damage. Here's a look at tomorrow. We're starting to cloud up already. It's likely to be pretty cloudy for us tomorrow, but tomorrow's likely to be dry. We'll have that first wave of rain approaching us as we get into the day on Saturday. This is Saturday at 5 a.m. We should be fairly dry. As a matter of fact, at lunchtime we look good too, but we'll move it on ahead. And by the time we get to the evening, there may be a few light showers, but notice how it really looks like it's going to fizzle out as it moves into our area. So our rainfall is going to be pretty limited. We'll give it a 20% chance of a few sprinkles on Friday, 30% chance of rain Saturday, 20% chance maybe just after midnight on Sunday. Back to the west of the mountains, hey, they could see 1.5 to 2 inches, but boy, it just kind of puts on the brakes and dies before it gets here. So only about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of rain, and we need at least 4 to 6 inches to get us out of this drought over a month's time. It's going to be nice and warm tomorrow. Don't forget that. 73 degrees for Friday, 75 on Saturday, and then winter returns by Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Celebrating a visionary, dozens of items are up for bid, including the check that launched an empire. How much?
Well, as we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today. The Newton Grove police chief is being held on no bond after facing secret peeping charges. Greg Warren is charged with 7 felonies. According to court documents, the charges are related to an incident that happened in 2023. He is accused of going into a victim's bedroom and taking photos while they were sleeping.
The Durham District Attorney Satana DeBerry is responding to our questions about her office's handling of a recent case involving the man now suspected of killing a Raleigh teacher. We've reached out to her every day this week, asking why Ryan Camacho, who is now charged with the murder in Raleigh, was able to have felony charges reduced. DeBerry tells WRAL Camacho's cases here were handled appropriately based on the information and evidence at the time of his cases. We'll have more on her response coming up on WRAL News at 4.
Durham Police Chief Patrice Andrews is retiring after nearly 5 years in her role. She'll retire on May 1st. Chief Andrews has been in that role since November 2021, and she worked in Durham for a total of 25 years. But it's unclear the circumstances that led to her retirement, and no word on who will her replacement be.
The Star of Bethlehem Festival is now underway in Russia. It's a time when locals and visitors celebrate Orthodox Christmas. Professional sculptors carve saints and angels from the ice as tourists and locals watch. The last emperor of Russia, Nicholas II, and St. Nicholas were among the frozen masterpieces carved outside the Church of All Saints. The figures will be displayed through mid-February.
Well, his early tech gadgets changed the industry, and now an auction house is listing personal items and early prototypes developed by Steve Jobs. The auction is being held in honor of the tech company's 50th anniversary. Around 191 items are up for bid, including vintage Apple computers and some of Jobs' childhood belongings. One of the most prized possessions includes the first check issued by Apple Computer Incorporated. That was on March 16, 1976. The $500 check signed by Jobs and his Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak is expected to reach at least $500,000. How about that?
Our pet of the day comes to us from the SPCA of Wake County. Mima is an 8-year-old female dog weighing in at 52 pounds. She has done incredible with the other dogs and cats that she has met. Mima is a massive fan of car rides and would love to be your passenger. Her adoption fee is waived thanks to a grant from the Gray Muzzle organization. Go ahead and contact the SPCA of Wake County at spcawake.org.
Mental health history. The man accused in the murder of a Raleigh teacher had documented mental illness. On WRAL News at 4, how his mother tried to help him.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And don't forget, you can always get breaking news updates, traffic reports, and weather updates as well with our WRAL News app. Hope you have a blessed day today.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.